KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 9 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour. The Utah Mammoth season is on the line tonight as they head home to play Game 6 of their playoff series against the Vegas Golden Knights. Utah must win tonight or else their season is over. Mammoth head coach Andre Tourigny says he feels good about their chances.
We're really confident on what we can achieve out there. We're really confident in our group. I like the way we play. I like the fight in our guys. I like our execution. And now it came down to one game.
The Mammoth are hoping the fans in the Delta Center can help propel them to another win and send the series back to Vegas for a winner-take-all Game 7 on Sunday. The puck drops at 8 o'clock tonight. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Oil and gas prices are spiking as the Strait of Hormuz stalemate drags on. Kepler's lead oil analyst, Matt Smith, explains why.
Those very large crude carriers, they carry 2 million barrels. They've been heading to the U.S. instead. And so typically on any given day, you see maybe 25, 30 of those heading to the U.S. Right now, and over the last month, we've been seeing 60 to 70.
We're even seeing diesel from the U.S. going to Australia and Africa because these other countries are so desperate to get them. Your money at this moment, the numbers are up. The Dow has gained 790 points. The S&P is up 73 points. The NASDAQ up 219 points. Coming up, we have a beautiful weekend ahead of us. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, this is Derek Overstreet, president of the New Millennium Group and co-host of Stop Working, Start Living with KSL News Radio. Can you imagine what your life would be like if you could retire 3 to 5 years earlier than you thought possible? The things you could do, the loved ones you could spend time with, the memories that you could create. That's what our team at the New Millennium Group does. We'll walk you through the entire process every step of the way. If you'd like to get a copy of the 5-step proprietary plan that will help you retire 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible, give us a shout right now. 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com. Listen, most of our listeners right now have a tax problem, not a money problem. There's not enough money in Social Security Medicare as it is. Let us show you how you can significantly reduce your taxes. That's 888-999-6370. 888-999-6370 or utahsfinancialplanner.com.
Kitchen and bath transformations start with AMC Building Materials. AMC Building Materials is a large kitchen cabinet and countertop supplier serving both wholesale and retail customers. AMC offers factory direct pricing on all interior remodeling materials, giving you exceptional value without sacrificing quality. Most standard items are available for quick payment and pickup right away. AMC Building Materials provides professional service, free design, and free on-site measurements, along with expert installation by top AMC professionals. From bold kitchen designs to beautiful functional bathrooms, AMC delivers outstanding value with styles you'll love. And best of all, most projects can be completed within just 10 days. Come experience beauty you can see. quality you can feel, and service you can trust. Get directions to the new AMC Building Materials showroom at 3678 South 700 West today and schedule your free estimate. Visit amckitchenslc.org. That's amckitchenslc.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. Here's Cormac Bone.
No delays on I-15 all across the Wasatch Front. Where we do have some slowdowns is crews still working on this crash. Eastbound 90th South at 4000 West, and they are blocking the center lane of both directions and causing some delays, especially eastbound 90th South is where it's slow. Otherwise, though, roadway's looking really good. This year is different. We just didn't get the snow we expected. Jordan Valley Water asks you to hold off on watering until at least May 15th. Life is better with water. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be a picture-perfect weekend, sunny skies, highs in the 70s, but as we move into next week, we can expect some rain on your way to work Monday morning. Right now, it's 55 degrees and sunny. I'm Britt Johnson from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
And welcome to May 1st. May 1st is Law Day for me, and I'm alongside Jim Bennett, who joined me yesterday. Thanks for coming back.
Thrilled to be here. Always fun.
I was a little nervous that we'd scared you off yesterday. You're a good sport. Holly, my normal co-host, is speaking at, she called it a convocation, which is different than a commencement, which I'm not sure I understand, but she's speaking to a college instead of the whole university or something like that. Anyway, she gets called to speak for things like that. But today is Law Day, and so it's important to me because I'm a lawyer, and I thought that we would talk about it a little bit. The theme for this year, Jim, is the rule of law and the American dream, and the rule of law being, I think, that the sort of the common theme of it, that no person is above the law, and what ensures the rights of people to live their lives as freely as possible and pursue their dreams. And so being a non-lawyer, I don't know what, maybe you think the same thing, but when you think of the rule of law, what do you think?
Well, I just think it's a matter of principles above people, that politicians or elected officials, they come and they go, but the principles that govern how we organize a civilized society stay in place. And that's, I think, what's allowed us to be able to have a functional republic for nearly 250 years.
So you're spot on, and that was really what our second president of the United States said. We're talking about John Adams, who was our first vice president and second president, I think, where he said, no one is above the law. We are a nation of laws, not of men, which is sort of what he considered to be the definition of a republic. And what he said was a nation should be governed by impartial, established rules rather than arbitrary wills of rulers. It ensures accountability, fairness, and the protection of rights against authoritarian power, placing laws above any individual. And I remember running for Attorney General in 2004, and I ran against a very, very brilliant man who was the Attorney General at the time. His name was Mark Shurtleff, and he talked about the rule of law. And I hadn't thought about it until then. We were debating, and he talked about the rule of law, and I just remember listening to him speak about it and thought, I've never understood it. I practiced law at that time. I'd been a lawyer, for at that time, 22 years. And I thought the law is the law. I taught the law. I taught police officers the law. I taught them what it means. That was I taught at the police academy. My subject was criminal code, what the laws are, that we write a law. And so, but to have him sort of explain the rule of law and how it works, I thought was pretty poignant. I really appreciated him for that. He then crushed me in the election, of course, which deservedly so, maybe.
Well, he was actually my neighbor.
Oh, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, I know him fairly well. He also ran against my father for a while, and then stepped away at the end, and we were really scared of him.
Your father, Bob Bennett.
My father, Bob Bennett, in his last election.
That would have been
2010.
Yeah, so I remember that a little bit because I remember that Mark. We're digressing a little bit here, but it's kind of fun because we're going down memory lane. But Mark was immensely popular.
Yeah.
He was doing incredibly well. And could have run for anything, and so he was talking about running against Bob Bennett, and even back in 2004 they were talking about him doing that. And I don't know if you remember this, but that year that I ran, we did have a candidate who ran against your father.
In 2004.
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember.
He was the former Attorney General.
I can't remember his name. All I know is that he made a radio ad where he was singing. He had a guitar.
Right. He was it. Now I can't think of his name either, but I'll think of it in a minute.
Well,
he was a Democratic Attorney General before Jan Graham, and he was also a county attorney. What was his name? Anyway, I'll think of it in a minute. But very popular. He was great. He was a good speaker, and he loved your dad. I mean, they got along great.
Well, one of the people that I've really gotten to know in the intervening years is the guy who ran against my father in 1998. And after my father, and now all of a sudden his name has just gone out of my brain, and it's getting mad because he actually even donated to my campaign when I ran for Congress.
We're not doing very well here.
No, we're not with the names. What's happening?
Yeah, what's up with that? For some of our listeners, maybe chime in to us. 57500.
Yeah.
The Democratic candidate for U.S. Senate in '98 and
in 2004. But he had the he had the effect of actually getting along with the people he ran against, and even the people who didn't agree with him politically. Very much had. Oh, his name was Scott Leckman.
Yeah,
Scott, if you're listening to this, I very much apologize for getting your name briefly, but yeah, Scott Leckman, wonderful human being.
Right, and then it was Paul Van Dam.
Paul Van Dam. See, there it is.
See, there we go.
It all just kind of comes together.
It's good. So anyway, let's get back to the rule of law. I came to really. I am digressing again because you got me thinking about Bob Bennett. I just remember what an incredibly professional man he was. I mean, we're on the campaign trail, and we're debating, and we're going back and forth, and people are doing this and doing that. And if you recall, Huntsman, John Huntsman Jr. was running for governor.
Yep.
Scott Matheson was the Democratic candidate. We traveled around the state, Scott and I. We really had a great time. And Paul Van Dam, and just watching people like Bob Bennett. And it was a year when politics was so much different. I mean,
much
you
different.
Think about Bob Bennett. You think about John Huntsman Jr., the people that were running for those. Even Mark Shurtleff. We had our differences, but man, I just enjoyed that year. The Democrats all got thumped at the end of the day, but
same year I was
by
working,
good Republicans, by good Republicans, all of them.
Well, that same year, I was working on the campaign of Fred Lampropoulos, who came in third in the convention. So I was deep in the heart of that campaign for a number of different things. I was also my father's communications director at that point and did all of his ridiculous billboards. Do you remember those? Yeah. A bold, brilliant beanpole, honest, humble, hairless. Right. He put these 3 words up, and we didn't put the name up and just had them as teasers. People wondering who it was.
Yeah.
And the one that broke the pattern, but which I really loved, was the one that said, "Better looking than Abraham Lincoln, but just barely."
Just barely, yeah.
So
yeah, those were the days, and I got to learn about the law. I got to appreciate what we do with the American dream, and I after that, this day means a lot to me, Law Day, and because I coach these mock trial teams around the state, and we usually have our Law Day luncheon where the teams that win the mock trial competition go to the luncheon. And because I've had some teams that won, so we got invited to the luncheon, and it was a lot of fun. And I spoke at the Law Day. I was the speaker one day. The subject that year was the jury system, the power of the jury system or something like that. And I was able to I sort of played my favorite closing arguments in movies that were for juries, and I don't know. I love the law. I've come to love the law. It's my life, for the last 44 years. And I appreciate the groups that we have in Utah: Legal Aid Society, Utah Legal Services, Public Defender's Office, the people that really serve the community and make the law what it is today. I think we do a great job in this state. I think we have the best judges in the country. I think we have some of the best criminal prosecutors in the country. And our public defender system, by and large, is really, really good. Our legal services. Anyway, I'm touting things. We're going to do a little bit follow-up on the law and talk about some things for the second hour. We have a really interesting group of people coming in. But today's Law Day, so give a hug to to your local lawyer or judge and remember the day. And when we come back, it's really been a busy week in Congress. We're going to talk with Representative Celeste Malloy, who, by the way, is a lawyer, when we come back.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
Since 1947, Whipple Service Champions has been Utah's most trusted name for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical services. Got a high-priced repair bill from another company and you're just not sure about it? Call Whipple. Get a free, no-pressure estimate or bring us their quote for an honest second opinion. Totally free. Whipple Service Champions, Utah's first place for second opinions since 1947. Call 385-273-7167 for your free estimate today. 385-273-7167.
Come see what all the buzz is about at Utah's oldest Volkswagen dealer, Strong Volkswagen. New Jetta are just $158 a month during Volkswagen Driver Days. At Strong Volkswagen, lease new 2026 Jetta S just $158 a month. $158. Even new Tiguan, $233 a month. $233. And the roomy, family-ready Atlas, just $350 a month. Atlas comes standard with heated seats, heated steering wheel, keyless start, and third-row seating. They're selling fast with 0% financing for 60 months. And you get a lifetime warranty. Lifetime, no charge. Make a beeline for German engineering and a new lineup that's creating all the buzz. New Jetta, $158 a month. New Tiguan, $233 a month during Volkswagen Driver Days at Strong. Strong Volkswagen, driven by transparency, built on family, powered by people who care. For over 70 years, Strong Volkswagen, located downtown. StrongVW.com. StrongVW.com. For details, call 801-596-2200.
If the world were like a Sleep Number mattress, everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized comfort night after night. And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses for a limited time. To experience a whole new world of comfort, visit a Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
If you talk and they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy. So we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
Everything to my back is dark.
High in the alpine wilderness.
Really ugly clouds coming over from the north.
A place
the ridgeline is imposing, the escarpments, the drops.
Where survival,
it's dark now, I have nothing,
is never certain.
This is not good.
My name's Dave Cawley, and I'm the host of a podcast called Uinta Triangle. It's about the disappearance of an Australian hiker named Eric.
Our conclusion, and that of the sheriff, is that the mountains have decided to keep him.
Come retrace Eric's footprints with me.
You have done this walk too, but this is your backyard.
Did he really make a wrong turn? Or did he decide that he was done?
He is not the first or last person to vanish in this remote region.
It was haunting to see the photos. I mean, really.
Find and follow the podcast series Uinta Triangle. That's Uinta, spelled U-I-N-T-A, Triangle, wherever you get your podcasts. All episodes out now.
The new Inside Sources.
Well, if you've been following our show, you know that it has been a very busy week on Congress. They got a lot of stuff done, some really important bills passed. We've talked about those for the last couple of days, and we're very fortunate today to have our own Representative Celeste Malloy, who was up on Capitol Hill this week, and she now joins us to break down what happened. Representative, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me on after a crazy week in Washington, D.C.
That's right. I have to digress for just a second, maybe catch you off guard a little bit. Today's Law Day, and I know you're a lawyer. I know you practice law in the southern part of the state. What does Law Day represent to you? What does that mean to you?
Well, I didn't know it was Law Day until just now, so I guess I can't say it means that much to me. But we are a nation of laws. We have the rule of law in this country, and we throw that term around a lot. But what it means is that we all have to live by the same set of rules. And when that became the standard in this country, that was kind of unique around the world. We don't have a royal class or aristocracy that doesn't have to abide by the rules. And we're so used to it now, I think we take it for granted. But it really is the foundation of everything we are as a country.
Wonderful. I mean, that's better than I said at the first segment, Jim. So you mentioned something about King. We did have the King visit this week. Tell me what the mood was like on Capitol Hill with that.
You know, this is such a strange year. Having the King of England come address Congress on our 250th birthday seems like it should have been a really big deal and something that caused us all to stop and reflect a little about what the last 250 years have meant. And it barely made a ripple. Everybody, it was in the middle of a lot of busy things happening on Capitol Hill, and everybody went in and listened to the speech and then went right back to work. But I will say, King Charles was funnier than I expected him to be.
Funnier? What was funnier than you expected him to be?
He did have a sense of humor.
He
was a pretty good
told
stand-up.
some jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was also impressed with the fact that he actually talked about the rule of law. He talked about that's one of the things that makes the United States so different from the rest of the world, which was interesting coming from the kind of monarch that you're talking about, although the King of England is essentially a figurehead at this point. But
yeah, I don't think he enjoys the perks his ancestors did 250 years ago.
Some of the pressures, too. Well, let's cut to the chase here. So I want to talk to you about a bill that a lot of people didn't understand, and that was the bill that extends some of the provisions of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, Section 702. Yeah. It's a little bit controversial. More Republicans supported it this year in the past, and I think you supported it. I think one of our representatives did not, as I recall. I don't remember. Yeah. I think Kennedy came down the other way. But tell us, our listeners, sort of what you thought about it and why you supported it.
Yeah, well, so really all we just passed was a 45-day extension. So we have been debating FISA and what we should do with FISA, but what just passed was just a 45-day extension to give us more time to keep debating that. But the reason I supported it 2 years ago because we made 56 really important amendments to FISA. So FISA deals with, how the United States surveils foreigners overseas. And that part isn't actually very controversial. I think most people agree that we want our intel agencies to keep an eye on, foreign terror groups or suspected terrorists to make sure we don't have another 9/11. What's controversial is when the FBI, which has a domestic mission, can see what's sitting in what's called the 702 database. So Section 702 lets the intel agencies monitor the internet traffic of people they're monitoring. Most internet traffic comes through the United States. But when they're monitoring foreigners outside the United States, they collect what they call incidental data on U.S. citizens, and it's all sitting in that database. And as long as that database is being used to monitor foreigners outside the United States, even that isn't that controversial. But we learned in the last few years that the FBI was accessing that database to look for information on U.S. citizens, and you can't surveil U.S. citizens without a warrant. And so the question has been, what do we do now? We told the intel agencies to share information with the FBI after 9/11. There are no Fourth Amendment protections for foreigners overseas, but if they have information on Americans, then that should be subject to the Fourth Amendment. And how do we accomplish both of those things at the same time? So in the last few years, we've made a lot of changes to how the FBI can access that database.
So does this bill specifically push that even further? Are there new sorts of changes to how the FBI can access that database?
Not in the bill that passed. So we passed a bill out of the House that had some new restrictions on it, and then the Senate didn't pass that. So the Senate passed a clean 45-day reauthorization, and we passed the same clean 45-day reauthorization. And that's why I say we're still debating what additional reforms need to look like. And I don't know if there's anybody who's not open to additional reforms. This is just the process of how you figure out which reforms are required.
Before we move on to DHS funding, what do you anticipate will happen, Representative Malloy, in the next 45 days as it relates to FISA?
Well, my guess is very little will happen in the next 40 days. And then in the last 5 days, we'll have some really intense debates. And my guess is we'll reauthorize FISA, Section 702. Most of it is already reauthorized. Section 702 will reauthorize with some additional safeguards in place. We just have to hammer out exactly what those additional safeguards look like.
All right, so let's get to this DHS funding bill, because that had been an agency that was without funding for something like 75 days. What brought this? Yeah. What brought this to the table? Well, I know it's been on the table, but why was this suddenly voted on this week?
Because just like a lot of other things in Congress, we got to the point where we had to do something. We should have done this months ago. The House has passed DHS funding 4 times, maybe 5 now. But the Senate wouldn't vote on the House's appropriation bill because there were people who wanted ICE reforms. A lot of the ICE reforms they said they wanted were already in the bill. Some people dug in too early before they had read it. But as with all things political, once you've dug yourself in, it's hard to get back out. So we've been trying to find a way around this Senate blockade for a long time. And while we were working on that, the administration moved some money around in those accounts to keep paying TSA agents and, people at Homeland Security. But
well, that included Secret Service agents too, right?
Yeah. So speaking of things that, normally would have been headlines for weeks, but kind of didn't get as much attention this week, there was another attempt on the president's life last weekend. And so in a dangerous world where we've got a lot going on, we have to have Homeland Security funded. And we were too busy, dithering over details. But what happened is the administration didn't have any more money they could move around. So we had to pay Secret Service, TSA, the Coast Guard. And so we had to pass a bill. And the House, we ended up having to swallow a bill that we didn't really like. As an appropriator, I'm not at all happy about the way this turned out. But sometimes when you're running a world superpower, you just have to get things done.
And is part of the reason that you're disappointed, Representative Malloy, because of immigration wasn't funded fully? Immigration enforcement?
Yeah, well, it's kind of technical, but it's the way it wasn't funded. So in the appropriations bill that they just sent back to us, it had a 0 on the line for ICE and for Border Patrol. And when we zero something out in an appropriations bill, that should mean that it can't be done. The argument from the Senate was they have money from the One Big Beautiful Bill, so we don't need to put funding in there. And I get that argument, but the way they did it technically causes a problem, and I thought a Republican Senate should be able to fix that technicality before they sent it back to us.
Were there other sorts of compromises that were needed to be made in order to be able to survive the sort of heavy scrutiny you were getting from the Democrats?
No, it turns out in the end, a lot of the things they said they would hold the line on got through anyway. So it was a lot of sound and fury signifying not nothing, but very little.
It's bad luck, to quote Macbeth, just so you know, as an old theater guy.
Oh.
Well, that was Celeste Malloy, our own representative, and thank you very much for joining us this morning, especially such a busy time of year. When we come back, we're going to go to project I think is happening up at Utah State University. A road that charges your car as you drive it is not just sci-fi anymore. It's actually being developed right here in Utah. This is good news for those of us that have electric vehicles, and it may be good news for the electric vehicle industry as a whole. We'll talk about that right after this.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour, Alan Osmond will be laid to rest this weekend in Utah County. The family is asking for privacy, but a live stream of the funeral will be made available to anyone who wants to watch from home. Osmond died last week due to complications from multiple sclerosis. He was 76. A neighborhood in West Valley City is being studied after health officials saw reports about a high number of Parkinson's cases there. Sydney Christensen is an epidemiologist with the State Health Department and says they are reviewing all of the cases and data since getting reports from the neighborhood in mid-April.
We still have a long way to go. We don't have any answers at this point. We don't have any correlation that there is any association in West Valley right now.
The issues came to light when people in the neighborhood started posting on social about dealing with Parkinson's, along with a high number of people diagnosed with cancer. Utah does have the highest death rate associated with Parkinson's in the nation. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. As thousands of Cubans turn out for May Day demonstrations, others are worried about their day-to-day lives as the U.S. blockade against their country continues. ABC's Matt Rivers is in Havana with more.
Despite ongoing operations in Iran and the raid on Venezuela earlier this year, the Trump administration remains fixated on Cuba.
Cuba's a failing nation, and we're going to do this, and we may stop by Cuba after we're finished with this.
Not ruling out the use of military force and seemingly determined to force out Cuba's communist government, demanding economic and political change.
The U.S. blockade has cut off nearly all oil imports. Your money at this moment, the Dow up 66 points at this hour. We're at 49,718. Coming up, a beautiful day and weekend in store. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
You know, turning 60 and above kind of got to me after a while. I started gaining weight, and gaining weight in a manner that I hadn't before, because I used to be able to just eat whatever I wanted and not gain weight. And I turned 60 and further, I started gaining 5, 10, 15, 20, got really close to 30 pounds. And no matter what I tried, it didn't work. I couldn't lose weight. I'd never been on a diet, and I really don't like to take medication. I didn't want to take injections. I thought there's got to be some program that can help me lose weight that doesn't require that. So I found SOTA, S-O-T-A, Diet Nutrition at sotadietnutrition.com. I hooked up with them. It's been about 3.5 weeks now. I've lost 16 pounds. Seriously, 16 pounds on diet alone, diet nutrition. I've got a nutritionist who calls me every week. I photograph myself on the scale every week so they can find out what I'm doing. I give them my plan. I give them my food plan. I go through everything that's worked out for me so far, and it's been great. It's something I intend to stay on for a while. My wife's even on board too, and she didn't even need to lose weight. It's been fun for us, and remember, join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime. SOTA, S-O-T-A.
I was in foot pain for 20 years, trying to give it relief, buying all these different insoles. Drugstore insoles, custom insoles. I spent thousands of dollars. I bought all these products, and not a single one worked. I really, truly needed to have relief in my feet. And the Good Feet arch supports were what gave me the relief I needed.
For over 20 years, we've been helping people like Teresa actually live the life they love without their feet getting in the way.
They wanted to make sure that I got something that my feet felt good in, not somebody else's feet. I love the fact that I can wear these arch supports in all my shoes. I have boots, I have cowboy boots, I have running shoes, I have walking shoes, I have flat shoes, I have heels. It makes me so happy. If you ask my husband, he will crack up because there is no store I would rather go in than a shoe store. I'm Teresa, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Support comes from Amazon Business. You can't rely on guesswork to run your business. With Smart Business Buying, innovative AI tools optimize your purchasing experience, paired with delivery options built for business. Empower your team today. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile.
I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. Earn 4.24% on savings at uccu.com. And here's Cormac Bone.
Right now, there are no delays on I-15 between Ogden and Provo. We do still see these slowdowns on 90th South near Bangerter Highway due to that crash that's at the intersection at 90th South and 4000 West. They do have the car on a tow truck, though, so that is the good news. The delays are worse westbound approaching 4000 West right now. Still seeing spotty delays as well in Magna on the 201 freeway, especially eastbound approaching 7200 West. And in Lehigh, still seeing Pioneer Crossing delays and 2100 North delays as you try to get onto I-15. I'm Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
It'll be a beautiful weekend. Highs in the 70s, lots of sunshine. You might get some rain on your way to work Monday morning, though, because we do have a storm system coming in Monday and Tuesday. Right now, it's 55 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, I'm alongside Jim Bennett. And Jim, I didn't realize we had something in common. We both drive electric vehicles.
That is correct.
And I have been hearing about this technology. I assumed it was complete hocus pocus, where there were actually roads that could help you charge your vehicle while you're driving. It was almost like I thought, well, you could put giant solar panels on top of your car and charge it while you're driving, which seemed kind of awkward. But then I'm learning that right here at Utah State University, they're working on that concept. And I saw a story by KSL TV's Brian Carlson about that. And Brian joins us in the studio today. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, good morning.
So it is more than just science fiction.
Yeah, it's not just a pipe dream of tomorrow.
Yeah, so tell us about how did you get even to looking into this?
Well, I was just looking up ideas. If I can do a lot of traffic-related stories. I don't know if I'm the pseudo-traffic specialist on the TV side of things here at KSL, but I'm looking up some different things I think I can do. And one of the ideas that just crossed my brain was, what if there's cool tech that they're doing with the roads? And so I started looking into this and saw a post by Purdue University about wireless roads. And I thought, well, there's got to be something that one of our universities is doing. And Utah State, right, they're an arm of the state. I started looking into what they're doing and come to find out they're the leader of this whole wireless electric charging technology that Purdue was advertising. In fact, Utah State is one of the 10 universities working on this technology, and it's headquartered up in Logan.
So what do you know about the technology? I mean, I don't mean the nuts and bolts of it, but literally it's something that would eventually allow a person who drives a car on the road to have their car being charged while it's operating?
Yeah, no plugs, no cords, no waiting hours for your Tesla to charge overnight kind of thing.
Right, yeah.
So the concept is that you have two main technologies that's being developed at Utah State. One is this concept where the road charges the car for you. How that works is there's rubber kind of electromagnets under the ground that you place them every quarter mile or so, connected obviously through some cabling between each charging, we'll call it port. And as your car drives over each one of these little charging stations, it gets a zap, so to speak, that not only charges the car, but then moves it forward. And so as long as you have enough of these little chargers underneath the ground, every quarter mile or so, the car gets a zap and continue going. So the road literally charges your car as it's moving. It has to be set up that way.
Right.
I mean, Teslas right now or Chevy Volts or whatever it is you drive, they're not set up to receive the technology. So you have to have a receiver and a transmitter that's under the ground. It works the exact same way as your cell phone does when you have it on a wireless charger.
Right.
It's just the distance between you, your phone, and the charger under the ground is a longer gap.
You ever seen the movie Minority Report?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens in that movie. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, yeah, I thought that's wild science fiction. And the idea that it could happen realistically relatively soon is really kind of exciting.
Yeah, so the idea that they've been floating this around since 2015, at least 2015. And so quietly been working on it behind the scenes, and then places like Purdue have been more active on social media, putting out, say, hey, here's what we're doing on our arm of the technology. Utah State obviously is the center for all of it. They have the wireless road charging technology, and what they're really excited about, I think why they've been kind of holding the cards back on this until they can get what they call the megawatt charger and that technology to roll out. Concept is very similar, except it's static, it's not moving. So let's say you have a semi-truck driver who's driving across the country. They may not be able to benefit as much by this because not every road's going to have that technology embedded. They need something that can charge it fast, and they can get on the road again. So they have this megawatt charger, the power of about roughly 1,000 homes, that once you pull up your car, again, just like a cell phone on a wireless charger, the semi-truck drives on top of the pad, and it can charge a full semi in half an hour.
Wow, that's and just by parking on it. So that could be something that could be used for passenger vehicles as well.
Right.
It'd be much faster. Obviously.
Exactly. So if the Teslas were able to receive that technology, they would say it's a matter of seconds, maybe a minute or two for a full Tesla.
Is that part of the same study,
Same
what's
thing.
going on at Utah State?
Exactly.
So it's kind of like a wireless charging station for cars, but two different concepts. One is, like you say, these little ports every quarter of a mile that give you a little zap, and another one is a big landing zone where you can get the full charge by just stopping and
just waiting for a second or two. So a passenger car would take seconds, and then larger, heavier cars, which require bigger battery power, would take a little bit longer. That's why they say the semi could do it in half an hour. They've been waiting on a couple of things to finalize that technology, and then the depth of the road embedded moving technology to be able to get it to go the distance, go a little bit further between the car that receives it and where they embed it in the ground.
Because go ahead, but the biggest problem we have with electric cars is what we call range anxiety, and this seems to be the
solution
for
to
that, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the logistics of rolling something like that out, though, seem kind of daunting to me, don't they? Aren't you going to have to tear up all these roads and?
I mean, that's part of the struggle, right? The birthing pains, as you may consider with that. But they said they can. When I talked to the civil engineers at Utah State about it, he says it's no different than any other utility that's currently under the road right now. I mean, you think about the roads that we have just behind us here in studio. There's going to be internet cabling. There's water. There's any number of different utilities currently under the ground as it is. The only difference here is that this technology is not as deep as those. Right, so it's a couple of feet for some of these other utilities. This would be 6 inches at probably its lowest.
So it could probably be, Brian, put in as new roads are being developed a lot easier than existing. And we're always repaving roads, so I can see that happening during something like that.
Yeah, if you look at all the construction that's happening right now in I-215
right.
in the Salt Lake Valley, I mean, this would be one of those things as they rebuild 215, just do that along with it. They're doing all the rest of it. The utilities are going along with that. Why not this too?
How far along do you think this technology is?
The timeline they gave me was they're going to roll out this technology, announcing it to the world in late summer, early fall.
So this year?
This year. Oh, wow. So they've been working on it for at least the last 11 or more years, right, up at Utah State, just behind the scenes. This has all been going on under our nose for the last who knows how long. And then after that, they think that once it gets picked up by commercial entities, there's a Kenworth Trucks. They're the trucking entity who's embedding that in their semi-trucks. They think this will be everyday drivers will see it in the next 10 to 20 years.
Well, so is this kind of like a subscription service? Because somebody has to pay for the energy that's going to be zapped into the cars, or is that just minimally inexpensive?
That's how our superchargers work anyway, really. Yeah. I mean, it would seem like I don't know. Maybe they haven't figured that part out yet.
I liken it as best if you're old like me, you can recall.
You can't say that in this room.
You're younger than both of us.
Well, then you'll know,
both
right?
Can see you.
Yeah. So present company excluded. But let's say you remember the competition between VHS tapes and beta tapes,
right? Yeah.
Or more closer to home here for a lot of folks is the MP3 audio versus, like, say, some of the other technologies when you went away from CDs. the different competing companies had different versions of the same technology.
Right.
DVDs and HD DVDs and Blu-ray discs, all that, the same thing, just different companies making it. That's currently what's happening. So Utah State is doing the research, but there are different companies who are not talking with each other about their different versions of the same technology.
Right.
Who's going to be the first to the arms race here to be able to have the one that a federal, city, county government's going to go, yeah, we like that. Let's buy that and put that under our roads. That's how I see this playing out.
Yeah, interesting. Well, that's exciting news. Thanks, Brian. That was KSL TV's Brian Carlson joining us in the studio with some great news for electric car owners and maybe some ways to get people out of that range anxiety that's scaring some people away from getting cars. Yep. Yeah, it's great. Next, a student at the University of Utah who has lived in the United States since he was 1 year old has now been detained by ICE. We're going to talk to immigration attorney Adam Craik after this break.
Sign up for KSL Text Alerts. Get breaking news and traffic updates by texting the word news to 57500. Want access to exclusive contests? Text contest to 57500. Jazz fans, text the word jazz for breaking jazz updates. And Cougar fans, text BYU to 57500 for the latest on the Cougars. Message and data rates may apply. Mother's Day is right around the corner, and J&J Garden Center in Layton has everything you need to make Mom's Day bloom. Right now, the greenhouses are full of vibrant flowers, beautiful hanging baskets, and colorful plants that make the perfect gift for Mom. Choose from stunning hanging baskets and 4.5-inch seed geraniums, both 20% off during the Mother's Day celebration at J&J Garden Center. Or brighten her garden with beautiful bedding plants that will bring color to her yard all season long. Whether Mom loves tending her garden or simply enjoys fresh flowers on the patio, you'll find something she'll love at J&J Garden Center. Stop by, explore the greenhouses, and pick out the perfect blooms to celebrate the moms in your life. Visit J&J Garden Center in Layton and make this Mother's Day one that truly blossoms. J&J Garden Center.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things. I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink?
Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol. If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble.
Okay.
Really?
I promise, Grandma. I love you too.
Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
Inside Sources.
This is kind of a heartbreaking story that we read about this morning, Jim. Lisandro Pantaleon Pacheco, a University of Utah student, he's now been detained by ICE. He's been in the United States since he was 1 year old. 1 year old. He's now in jail in Wyoming after being detained by ICE, despite really not having much of a criminal record. And we're joined this morning by his attorney, who's joined the show before, a friend of mine and a friend of the show, Adam Craig. Adam, thanks for joining us today.
You bet. Happy to be here.
Adam, can you just tell our listeners a little bit about the history of Lisandro and why he is where he is now?
Sure. Came here as a 1 year old child, right? So mother brought him across the border. Lived in Park City, attended elementary school, middle school, high school, started attending the University of Utah, trying to live as normal of a life as possible, and was on his way to work the other morning. And at around 5:58 a.m., a unmarked vehicle pulled him over. A truck pulled in front of him. One of the agents got out of the truck, asked Lisandro to produce identification or driver's license. He pulled out what we have here in Utah as the driver's privilege card, and they asked him to step out of the vehicle and took him and detained him for being here unlawfully.
So was this something that was completely out of the blue for him? He just was driving, and I mean, he'd had no prior incidents that would have alerted him that this was going to happen?
Yeah, literally out of the blue. I mean, I guess the only thing you could say is potentially, as a 1 year old, he can't break the law. There's no intent to cross the border. But the law, once he turns 18, theoretically you start accruing unlawful presence. But I mean, I guess we say to him when you turn 18, leave our country. But that's not really the way things work. So no criminal history. I think there was a traffic offense last year. Other than that, absolutely squeaky clean. And so just driving to work. Had started a new job, and the next thing you know, he's being detained by ICE.
Well, what put him on ICE's radar at this point? I mean,
Boy,
just because he's turned 18, or were they?
Yeah, and he's 22. I don't know, to be brutally honest with you. So let's see, I can't even remember how many phone calls. There were 7 or 8 people arrested in Park City the other day, the same day that Lisandro was detained. And in all candor, I have not. There's been no warrant of arrest produced. I haven't been able to see that. There's no we don't get probable cause statements. We don't get anything related to any sort of an articulatable suspicion of undocumented status. So in all candor, all I'm left with is driving while brown. That's all I have. That's all I'm going off of.
Wow. Adam, do you know whether or not he had been in the process or had taken any steps to secure citizenship, or was he just living here and going to school and I mean, since he'd been here for 21 years, just assuming that he was good to go?
Right. So in his case, because there is so he had previously applied for DACA. There was a 3-week window during the Biden administration when DACA was made available again, with some updated parameters. So for kids who were brought here without their consent, President Biden tried to open up a window where they updated those parameters. Immediately lawsuits were filed and that kind of shut down. But he had successfully submitted an application. But other than that, there is no path, right? So he either has to marry a citizen, which, by the way, he was about to propose today.
Oh, gosh.
He has a citizen girlfriend, and he'd already bought the wedding ring. I've actually seen the receipt for that wedding ring, and today was a proposal day. So there was a pathway in his future. And candidly, just 15 months ago, this is the individual that if they would have encountered him, he would have asked to check in at the ICE office at 2975 South Decker Lake. They would have released him on his own recognizance because he's not a danger to the community, he's not a flight risk, and potentially may have been put into immigration proceedings or potentially been told, look, you just need to marry your girlfriend quicker. Let's get this moving, right? But not somebody that would have been targeted ever.
Well, is he going to be able to return to a normal life relatively quickly, or is this going to be a long-term mess for him?
So what's going to happen is he will leave the state of Wyoming. He'll be transitioned to a detention facility. As soon as we know which detention facility he's located in, we will file a habeas corpus petition. And what's crazy is those used to be Hail Marys, and now there's about a 95% grant rate. So then that'll allow us to do a bond hearing for him. We simply have to prove that he's not a danger to the community, that he's not a flight risk, and there are hundreds and hundreds of support letters. So I anticipate, him getting out at some point, but it could take anywhere from a month up to 6 months.
Why is he currently in Wyoming, Adam? Is there no facility here in Utah that would be appropriate to hold a person of his status?
So, interestingly enough, it's the Alpine County Jail. Our ICRO, which is Enforcement and Removal Operations side, they don't have a long-term hold contract with anybody in Utah. So if someone's going to be held longer than 3 to 4 days, they needed a contract with somebody that would be willing to do that. And none of our jails in the state of Utah have entered into that agreement. So they have entered that agreement with Evanston. With the Alpine County Jail there.
And when you have proceedings here in Utah, you say he may not even be in Wyoming very long. He may go to some other facility somewhere else. You'll have proceedings here, and those will be like WebEx kind of thing.
Yep.
They're not
well,
going to
no,
call him
it's
back
funny.
and forth every time.
They do. They've we actually, when we go to immigration court here for detainees, and not only that, there's the Sweetwater facility in Rock Springs. We have about 4 people that are detained there, and they drive to Rock Springs, and they leave at about 3 a.m. and get them to the court by about 9:30.
Does this
every time?
Oh, my goodness! Does this have, do you think, anything to do with the proposed ICE facility that's going to be built here? Are they stepping up operations in Utah to show that it's justified to build this massive new facility in the state?
I don't know. Honestly, that's somewhat kind of put on hold for right now. But sure, that could be a potential to say, look, don't drop these plans. Let's keep going. Let's keep moving in that direction.
And Adam, do you think that this was some sort of a targeted thing like the Park City? They just decided, well, let's see what's going on in Park City and target some people up there and see what we can find.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I now have 4 different families that have called, and these were people that were just driving around in the community, going to their jobs, and this was not. I have yet to see an actual pre-created warrant for arrest for unlawful status. I haven't seen one yet.
That's just amazing. This is girlfriend. I mean, this is a terrible way, I would think, for a girlfriend to discover that she was about to be proposed to.
Right.
Is she now aware of all of this, and does she know that he had bought the ring and all of that sort of thing?
Unfortunately, I kind of blew the cap right off of that yesterday. Yeah. She's well aware now, which probably made her feel worse. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, best of luck on that one, Adam, and thanks for joining us this morning. That was Adam Craig, immigration attorney, who's just done so much work, and the guy has got to be just flooded right now. Although I think a lot of other attorneys, Jim, are stepping up to the plate and helping out with some of these. He indicated writ of habeas corpus. My wife was telling me that she's part of a group of federal attorneys that are helping out some people of all areas like Fresno who have got something like 2,500 writs that they're trying to get filed. So they're contacting attorneys from all over the country to do that. But, we often think that this doesn't happen in Utah, that we're not having this in Utah. And I think it's interesting to hear from people like Adam and others who say, yes, it happens right here. I mean, right here in Park City, right here in Salt Lake City, right? You don't know what's going to happen at your local Home Depot tomorrow. And we also talked right at the beginning of the show with Celeste Malloy about the fact that ICE isn't even fully funded yet, but they're fully working, it sounds like.
Well, you see a lot of the anti-immigration sentiment that I think is fueling the whole sort of MAGA movement.
Yeah.
I'm not happy about it, but I'm not particularly surprised to see that it's so prominent here in Utah.
Yeah, and I thought that the wave had gone the other way and that the public was backing off a little bit. I thought the administration might as well, but apparently not. Well, best of luck to that case, and I hope that justice prevails one way or the other, whatever that happens to be. Yesterday, speaking of justice, we talked about the indictment of former FBI Director James Comey. We're going to get a prosecutor's perspective on this, a little bit different than you might think, when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour. Just into the newsroom, UDOT says it's going to open one additional lane in each direction on Pioneer Crossing in Lehigh this weekend, which is 2 months ahead of schedule. This should make a significant impact on the amount of traffic moving through one of the most congested roads in Utah County. The road will continue to be under construction through the rest of the year as it is turned into flex lanes. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Prosecutors in New Mexico are pushing for sweeping changes to Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp.
Meta is reportedly threatening to shut down its platforms in New Mexico after a jury in Santa Fe found it liable for misleading users about the safety of the platform for children.
That is not going to actually satisfy or solve their long-term problem.
Raul Torres is New Mexico's Attorney General.
There are 42 or 43 other AGs across America who have similar claims.
A trial begins Monday in New Mexico to determine whether Facebook and Instagram are a public nuisance. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 15 points right now. We're at 49,667. Oil is at $101.35 a barrel. Coming up, a beautiful Friday on tap. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
I went to an event last Saturday night, a fundraising event, and I saw a friend of mine who I'd worked with on the ski patrol for years, a friend named Bruce, and we were talking, and he kept looking at me. I was walking around, and finally he said, "Greg, have you lost weight?" And I have to say, it made me feel so happy because I have lost weight. I never thought I would need to, but I did. And I've hooked up with SOTA Diet Nutrition, SOTA, about 3.5 weeks ago. Thought I want to try something that doesn't involve medication or injections or anything like that. I want to do something on my own, and I frankly wasn't able to do it on my own entirely. So I hooked up with SOTA. They hooked me up with a nutritionist, a coach. They contact me regularly, and I'm proud to say that in 21 days, I have lost 16 pounds. That's a little more than what they expected, but I'm happy with it, and I'm well on my way to where I need to be. SOTA Diet Nutrition, SOTA dietnutrition.com. Join us for a short time to have results that last a lifetime.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today. Call 855-TRAJAN-1. That's 855-TRAJAN-1.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by UCCU. Build smart, save big with construction loans at UCCU. And here's Cormac Bone.
No major accidents or delays on all our freeways across the Wasatch Front, but we do see normal and light slowdowns on the 201 freeway in Magna, eastbound at 8400 West. And in Lehigh, construction still giving drivers grief, especially eastbound 2100 North at 3600 West and 2300 West. But otherwise, roadways looking really good in your midday drive. While you're planning your day, plan for comfort too with the Good Feet store. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be sunny and 67 for a high, 74 tomorrow, 77 on Sunday, ahead of a storm system that moves in on Monday and brings some rain. Right now it's 57 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
Well, we have Greg Skordas and Jim Bennett today, but Jim has been helpful filling in for Holly the last couple of days while she's down at UVU enjoying graduation speeches and a ceremony for her daughter yesterday. It is Law Day, and today we thought we'd spend the second hour of our program talking about the law and some things that are happening in the law. And I thought that what better way to do that than with my good friend, former Attorney General and sort of career prosecutor Scott Reed, who I've known for, I won't even say how long, but it's been close to 40 years, maybe longer than that. Scott, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Greg, and Jim. Good to see you.
Good to see you, sir.
I wanted to just talk to you just generally about this Kalshi situation, Scott, because I think a lot of people don't understand how and why it's a big deal in the state of Utah. There's a lawsuit going on. The state of Utah has tried to say, well, it kind of crosses the line into gambling. We're a little different than a lot of states here because we are one of the few states that really has almost no level of gambling, even lotteries and things like that. But can you just break it down what you're seeing about this Kalshi thing and how it relates to what's going on with the law right now?
Well, I know you guys touched on this yesterday, and it may make it a little bit old news, but it really struck me because it's very similar to a case that I was involved in 20 years ago when I was in the Attorney General's office. But, since it's Law Day, let's talk about the law. The Constitution is kind of the basis for this lawsuit, and that is that the Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution is the enumerated powers of the federal government. And the 10th Amendment of the Constitution says anything not enumerated or not delegated to the feds is reserved to the states. And I think over the years, gambling has been one of those things that the states have taken over regulation upon. And historically, that was the case, I think, throughout the years until probably 1988, when the federal government passed the Indian Gaming on the Reservation Act, which had allowed tribes to have gaming facilities on tribal grounds. And, of course, that has burgeoned over time, and now states, I don't know if they've become emboldened by the fact that they have gambling within their, geographic boundaries, but now you have virtually every state in the union has some form of gambling except Hawaii and Utah. And that's the way it is today. Well, along comes this outfit called Kalshi, and I'm sorry, I thought that was a
granola?
A whole grain breakfast cereal and a typo, but I apologize to both of them. It turns out that they are this prediction market vendor, and they are federally regulated by, as you mentioned yesterday, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission. And so now they have all these prediction markets, which are sold as a legal contract on some kind of future outcome that may or may not occur. And Utah has taken the position that sounds like that's very speculative. That sounds like gambling, and we don't like gambling. We have a law against gambling here in Utah. So the legislature put in a bill this session, HB 243, which added prediction markets to the list of things that are gambling.
Well, they actually articulated prediction
within the
markets
statute, and that statute has passed. Kalshi comes in February and sues the state for an injunction saying, well, my gosh, you can't do that. And Kalshi's argument is that violates the Supremacy Clause, Article 6, Clause 2 of the Constitution, because we, the feds, occupy that field. That's our bailiwick. You can't regulate that. We do. And that's a violation of the Supremacy Clause. And the second part of their lawsuit is that state law, Utah Code Annotated 76-9-1401, expressly says that gambling does not include lawful business transactions. So here we are.
So they're insisting they're not gambling and that they are a lawful business transaction, and that's their way out of this?
That's correct. And that the feds are the ones who should be regulating this practice, regardless what you call it. I mean, it becomes potato a little bit when you say, well, it kind of looks like you're trying to predict what the next card up on the blackjack table is going to be, and that's gambling. So why is this different? But I think, it's a lot closer call than people might imagine, and I have some personal experience with that.
Yeah, I have to imagine, Scott, that what happened recently with the U.S. serviceman who purchased a lot in maybe whether Maduro is going to get captured by a certain date and time, and he won $400,000 on a $30,000 bet. The timing of that couldn't be much worse for Kalshi and others, because that smacks of gambling. It smacks of insider information. It smacks of the problems and the reasons why we do have regulations in place for these type of things.
Well, imagine how successful you might be at the blackjack table if you knew what the next card was going to be.
Right.
So this is the same kind of situation.
Well, you say you have a lot of personal experience with regard to this.
Well, there was a case in Utah 20 years ago that I was involved in. It was called Securities Industry Association versus Klein. And what happened there is, y'all remember Overstock.com and its CEO, Patrick Byrne. And their stock was being wildly manipulated through a process called short selling, and a particular process called naked short selling. And Byrne went to the legislature and said, "Hey, they're killing me, Smalls," and so the legislature passed a statute, SB 3004, back in 2006, that prohibited this conduct owners' record keeping, trying to make it more trouble than it was worth. Well, along comes the Securities Industry Association and says, "Sorry, you can't do that. We occupy that field." SEC and the Federal Trade Commission and everybody regulates this. You cannot. And the ultimate conclusion of that was, me and my client at the time, who was the director of the Division of Securities, Wayne Klein, sat down, looked at the lawsuit, kind of rubbed our chins and scratched our heads, and went to the governor and his counsel, some guy named Mike Lee, and within 2 minutes they had concluded that, yep, we're going to lose. What's your plan? And so we kind of quietly, with our hat in our hand, went to the judge, Judge Campbell in the federal court, and said, yeah, we'd like to, grant the injunction and maybe go about repealing this law. And that's exactly what happened. Now, whether that happens in the Kalshi case, I can't say. I mean, it's pretty early on. But it has the same flavor, and it's certainly the same arguments related to preemption and the Supremacy Clause.
So as it relates to Kalshi, what would that look like? That the legislature would jump in and tweak the law?
Well, Kalshi would be, in that scenario, permitted to continue to sell these legal contracts.
Oh, I see.
Now, there's more going on there because the federal government has now stepped up. Adam Schiff from California just last month filed the, the Prediction Markets Are Gambling Act, which has the unfortunate acronym of PMAGA. And so, my brain immediately went to "Please Make America Gamble Again." But That's a specific statute that said, okay, prediction markets, you have to exclude sports betting and you have to exclude casino-style gaming. Now, whether that's just a shot across the bow from the feds, whether that's actually going to happen, I can tell you there are lawsuits all over the country among the states, Kalshi and the CTFC. There's suits everywhere. Recently, Washington is suing Kalshi. The Washington Attorney General, not the Utah Attorney General, Derek Brown, the Washington Attorney General, Nicholas Brown, was quoted in the Spokane newspaper as saying, Kalshi is just a bookie with a fancy title. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we will. We'll watch that close. Hey, can you stick around for another segment?
Absolutely.
I want to talk to you about what's happened with our former FBI Director, James Comey, when we come back. Scott Reed.
Imagine a world where you can leave the house and take your home Wi-Fi speeds with you. Well, thanks to Xfinity Mobile, it's not just fantasy. Just picture it. You're at your kid's softball practice, streaming the other game in 4K, just like that. At the airport, download a cozy family comedy in a snap. What if the places you had to be felt more like everywhere you wanted to be? That's the magic of Xfinity Mobile. Reliable Wi-Fi and 5G when you need it. Xfinity. Imagine that. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Visit xfinitymobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet required. Savings based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus regular rates for 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More. Verizon Unlimited Plus and AT&T Starter as of 2/10/26. Taxes, fees extra after promo. Regular rates apply. Cut your mobile bill in half. Visit xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that.
The Movie Show broadcasting live today from Layton at NPS on 1150 North Main Street in Layton. And it is easy to get here. You just go to Hillfield Road, you go west, and you turn right. And eventually you'll drive in front of it. No, but it's the place to be to get clothing, to get groceries, to get anything you need. Come and check and see if NPS has it first, because if they do, it's going to be cheaper than anywhere else you can get it, and it's the same stuff with brand new tags on it.
It is.
And Chris, every time I come here, Chris has done some other tweak to this store. This one looks like it looks more and more high-end fashion every single time I walk in. So whatever you're doing the right thing, Chris.
Well, thank you. We're currently doing some renovations over there in collectibles. So.
Oh, in collectibles. Okay. Well, what kind of deals do we got at NPS today? Now, for new people, NPS always has deals over what you'd find anywhere else. But then every once in a while and regularly, they move around discounts on certain items to try to get it out the door, because they have so much stuff that they need to get out onto shelves that you got to get it out. So you go, okay, look, you want to pay that? All right, how about this? And then people come in and come buy it.
Correct.
So what are some of the cool deals we've got today?
The best one is electronics. 50% off today.
Extra 50% off. Okay.
And there are final sales on that stuff, just so you know. But yes, it is extra 50% off.
Okay. Well, that already. So that's what you should come. Is that good at all locations or just the Layton?
Yep.
Okay. Now, each store, they have 4 locations. Each store has a deal specific to its location. So if you live in Utah County and you can't make it to Orem, or if you live in Davis County and you can't.
Oh, my mistake. 60% off.
Oh, the board just came on, because when you walk in the door, you'll see what the flash sale is at that location. Electronics is an extra 60% off. That means things like TVs, right? That means things like extra monitors for your computer,
it does.
Which is what I did.
Yes.
Okay. See, this is amazing. These are great deals that you can get any of the 4 NPS locations, 1150 North Main Street in Layton, where the movie show will be until 1 o'clock, Orem 475 North State Street, and Salt Lake 1600 South Empire Road.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Get a $15 O'Reilly gift card after rebate when you buy 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Support comes from Amazon Business. Unlock smart business buying with fast, free delivery on millions of items and practical AI innovations that automate repetitive tasks so you can make smarter decisions faster. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
And expanded Inside Sources.
Well, one thing that we've talked about this week, Jim, is the James Comey indictment, and you obviously felt pretty strongly about that yesterday, I noticed.
Yes, indeed.
It's really been interesting. I talked to my wife, who's an attorney also. I've talked to a lot of people about that. And, of course, we know that former FBI Director James Comey has now been indicted for threatening the president based on an Instagram post that he made featuring the numbers 8647. Again, sort of it's being alluded to 8647, 86 meaning whatever. You had a great definition for it. Our next guest does as well. 47 being the 47th president of the United States. And I just thought a lot about the prosecution end of that. And so Scott Reed, a good friend of mine and a former prosecutor for many, many years, I contacted Scott last night and said, just from your perspective, what do you think about this? And you've prosecuted cases, Scott, some good, some bad. And there's a lot of discretion that goes in that process in terms of what you do and what you charge. And I told Jim and our audience yesterday about the notion that you can indict a ham sandwich. And, you know, it's pretty easy to get to that threshold. But ultimately, you got to carry the day with a jury, too, don't you?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you have to, as a prosecutor, keep in mind every moment that you have to prove this case, every part of this case, beyond a reasonable doubt. So as a prosecutor, when I heard about the Comey indictment, my first thought was, what are the elements of this crime? What does a prosecutor have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt? And so you look at 18 U.S.C., the statute, the criminal code, sections 871 and 875, which he's charged with. One is, knowingly making threats to kill, kidnap, or injure the president.
Knowingly.
Knowingly.
Right.
Yes.
That's a huge standard. That's a huge bar to clear.
It is. I mean, every one of those is kind of huge. I mean, the fact that it's the president, we probably could take that. But the other crime is knowingly putting a threat into interstate communication, which I think a Instagram post is like global communication, right, if not intergalactic communication. So there's probably not a lot of problem proving that case. But, first look at this whole notion of knowingly. And I tend to diverge a little with you guys. Comey is a smart guy. He graduated from Chicago Law School. He was the deputy and that number 2 attorney general to John Ashcroft. He was the FBI director for 4 years. I believe he knew exactly what he was doing. But what was it that he was doing? And so what is 86? Is this a threat against a person to kill or kidnap or injure a person, this person being the president? That's a tough order, I think, in terms of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, 86 is a slang term. Jim talks about, its etiology, where it came from. I mean, there's all kinds of theories. It might have been from, a soup kitchen back in the Depression, where a pot of soup held 85 bowls of soup, and if you don't want to be the 86th guy, and there's a section.
Heard that one.
Yeah, and there's the section of the U.S. Military Code of Justice, Section 86, has to do with unauthorized absence. So, I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. I like your theory, Jim, as well as any of them. But again, has that term evolved? And I have personal experience here as well, because I'm a kid, grew up mostly in Montana. came to University of Utah to go to college, but I would go back home over the summertime to work and to hang out with my boys. And me and the boys would ordinarily end up in some social parlor that allowed us to imbibe in adult beverages because we were of the proper age. And, invariably somebody'd get a little out of hand. And there's a sign behind the bar that says, "We reserve the right to refuse service to anyone." And that was called, "Hey, get out of here, you're 86th.
Right.
Well, it didn't happen often, but it happened more than once that I was present. And in all those times that it happened, I never saw anyone killed. I never saw anyone kidnapped. I never saw anyone injured.
Right.
Just
removed.
Removed, yeah. So what does this term mean, and does that translate into proof beyond a reasonable doubt that this is a threat to do those things? I mean, that's a very high bar.
Well, there's a guy named Jack Posobiec. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's this big alt-right commentator, but all throughout the Biden presidency, he would post 8646. And we have found that there are a lot of people who have posted 8647, and Todd Blanche was asked, "Are you going to prosecute all of them?" And he said, "No, we're not going to do that." So I don't see a scenario where they can prove that this is not a politically motivated prosecution, when, in fact, James Comey says that's not what I meant, and I took it down as soon as I was told that that was one of the implications. I mean, whether or not you believe him, he's a smart guy, yes, but proving that, yes, I did not realize that knowingly was part of the standard. Proving his intent was, I am threatening the president of the United States. I don't see how you can possibly do that.
Yeah, and we're not going to be able to climb into his head, and there have been allusions, I think you guys mentioned yesterday, to the fact that the government says they have more. Okay, fine, if that's true. I still think this is a very hard case to prove. And because of that, my second point that came to my mind, prosecutors have a duty, an ethical duty, beyond what their legal duties are, and is established by the standards of professional conduct. And there's a special rule for prosecutors. I mean, prosecutors are held to a pretty high standard, even comparison to other lawyers. The rule is 3.8. And the rule says that, a prosecutor, thou shalt not prosecute a case that you believe is supported by probable cause. But what that's evolved into is a practice standard that says if you're a prosecutor and you don't believe that there's a reasonable likelihood of conviction, you should not, and it's advisory, you should not proceed with this case. And I would have loved to be a fly on the wall inside the Department of Justice when that conversation was had, because I don't know ethically how you get past the notion that it's hard for anybody, lawyer, layman, to believe that there's a reasonable likelihood of conviction in this case. And the likely outcome is it's going nowhere or it's going to trial.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. So the last Comey indictment ended up with a dismissal, I think, from the judge. And I don't recall exactly, but there may have been something legally wrong, maybe the statute of limitation. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, there was
had to do with the appointment of the prosecutor.
Right. There's a lot of monkey business about the appointment of the U.S. attorney in that particular district.
But otherwise, it seems, in this case, the remedy might be the jury. I mean, do you see an avenue where a judge could look at this and say this is so far out of the realm? Because there's not going to be a preliminary hearing. Right. There's not going to be a hearing for the judge to make a probable cause determination of his or her own, knowledge. I don't know, and I'm getting into the weeds here a little bit with you, Scott. But you and I do that. Do you think Comey's got to go to trial and convince 12 people?
Yeah, and it sounds like he's more than willing to do that. But I think it's a very good question, because the grand jury does bypass any kind of a probable cause hearing. I don't know if there's some kind of notion of a bill of particulars that they can go in and say, we need a more, specific statement of the claim But let's face it, what ultimately happens here is that the process is the punishment.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if there's a conviction. We're just worried about taking this guy and making him hire a lawyer and spend a bunch of money and be publicly scrutinized, maybe lose some sleep. Doesn't sound like he's losing too much sleep, but all those things are totally contrary to what we in this room hold to be the rule of law.
Yeah.
So,
is there any process then by which a judge can look at this and say this is ridiculous on its face, let's not do this?
Well, I don't know.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, I don't know if a member of the judicial branch could take that initiative without grave criticism. But again, the process is what it is, and a person is innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I just, part of me is very disheartened by this for the country, because I think all this really ensures is this is not the last time this is going to happen.
Yeah, sadly. And Comey maybe did a dumb thing too.
Yeah, no, that's not a crime.
Yeah, that's true.
And then you throw in this whole First Amendment thing about free speech and where are the limits of
Go
that.
down that road too.
Is it
right?
like is it 86-47 like yelling fire in a crowded room?
Right.
Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
But probably not.
Well, thanks for joining us. That was Scott Reed, good friend of mine, and good friend of the show. Oh, go ahead. You had a public service announcement.
Very much. Thank you for the indulgence. I just wanted to put a shout out to our people in law enforcement who are also part of our legal community, and to let the audience know that next Thursday, the Utah Law Enforcement Memorial will be holding a memorial ceremony, as it annually does on the first Thursday of every month. It's on the western grounds of the state capitol, and it's a remembrance and an honor of all of our law officers who have been lost in the line of duty, and there are 150 officers in the state of Utah who are on that wall up there. And unfortunately, this year we have the burden of adding 2 more names to the wall.
The officers from the Tremont and Garland Police Department.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Officer Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada.
Right.
And their names will be added. So the public is invited. If you need more information about Utah Law Enforcement Memorial, you can go to utahsfallen.org.
Thank you, Scott. We'll continue our celebration of Law Day and get with the Executive Director of the Utah State Bar after this.
1031 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour. Breaking news out of Washington, D.C. President Trump says he's going to increase tariffs on cars and trucks imported from the European Union by 25%. He made the announcement online saying the EU is not complying with their agreed-upon trade deal, but did not go into more detail. In the previous deal, tariffs between the U.S. and EU were set at 15%. Alan Osman will be laid to rest this weekend in Utah County. The family is asking for privacy, but a live stream of the funeral will be made available to anyone who wants to watch from home. Osman died last week due to complications from multiple sclerosis. He was 76. Happy birthday to the Empire State Building, turning 95 years old today.
Just 2 years after its opening, the Empire State Building making cinema history, scaled by King Kong in 1933. Then again in 2005. And for nearly a century in between, it's been one of Hollywood's favorite film locations, from The Man of Steel to Buddy the Elf, who had a great time in one of its 73 elevators. It secured its spot in rom-com history in Sleepless in Seattle.
ABC's Danny Beckstrom reporting from New York City. Your money at this moment, the Dow has dropped down a little bit. We're down 60 points at this hour to 49,594. Coming up, temperatures are about to climb. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The movie show is broadcasting live today from the nicest place to save in Davis County, NPS store at 1150 North Main in Layton. And we're here with Chris, who continues to improve both the look and apparently I hear someone's been sneaking around the store and marking things down even more.
I have
because somebody here really wants people to save when they come in and get stuff that they were like, oh, crud, I wouldn't maybe get that, but at that price I can't not.
Yes.
NPS is like the king of doing that.
We are.
You're really good at that.
We try to be a little sneaky with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I haven't even looked around yet, but I know I'm going to walk out of here with something I wasn't intending to buy when I came in today. But that's part of the fun, is the treasure hunt, Val. And this is what. Tell us what some of the deals that when Val and I go, what we're going to probably end up buying today.
Shoes.
I
heard shoes earlier, so that's all I can.
And that one is specific to this store. So,
okay, so all stores have at least 30% off on shoes.
They do, yes.
But Layton, how much extra off?
60.
An extra 60%, 60% off of the lowest marked price on there.
Yes.
So
you could probably
need
buy
shoes.
both shoes in that particular
shoes
case.
at that price.
I mean, you do. You need
You
shoes
can buy
for
your
kids.
whole family
You can
shoes,
get
your
the back
neighbor.
to school shoes already, and they're not even out of school yet for this
the
year.
family. Yeah, I'll totally buy some for the
some
family.
for the
Yeah,
family.
Sure.
But I'm also looking. You got some cool grocery specials going on today and tomorrow. These are the movie show specials.
Yes.
Frozen style meatballs, $2.99 a package.
Yes.
This is one that. Okay, so I was tasked with bringing my son's treats to his tennis match a couple weeks ago, and when I was in NPS, you guys had a great deal on these juice boxes, the 8-pack of juice boxes. Right now, they're even better price than when I bought them 2 weeks ago. 2 for $3. And let me tell you, those went so fast at the tennis match. So fast.
Because they're good.
And the kids reckon. In fact, my one kid at home got mad that I didn't have any to bring home to him because he wasn't the one playing the tennis match. So, yeah, this is a great deal. 2 for $3 on these 8 packs of juice boxes. I just like looking around. Grocery, retail. I mean, the books. We're sitting next to the bookshelf here in Layton. And it would be $2 for just about any book on that shelf.
Yep.
No matter what the original cover price is. So come in and enjoy the savings. Check out these savings plus others as you poke around the store. I'm sure you guys have an extra discount on clothing too today.
Oh yes, it's 50% off.
An extra 50% off. That plus a whole bunch of other deals at their 4 locations. 1150 North Main in Layton, where the movie show is today. 1600 South Empire Road in Salt Lake, and 475 North State in Orem.
I'm here with Monty from Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, an authorized independent dealer. So, Monty, I wonder if you know someone like this. He's the ultimate DIY guy. Restores classic cars, builds his own deck, and even smokes his own brisket.
Sounds like a talented guy.
He is, but get this, his other weekend hobby is troubleshooting his water softener. He's always down there resetting the timer or fiddling with the circuit board.
See, Doug, that's where I draw the line. Smoking a brisket is a great weekend project.
Yeah.
Fixing an electric water softener is just a chore.
Exactly. He thinks he's saved money by buying the bargain brand, but he's paying for it with his Saturdays.
That's the Connecticut difference. Our systems are premium because they are non-electric and fully automated. No computers to fry, no timers to reset. We install it and you get back to the hobbies you actually enjoy.
If you want soft water, do what I did and leave that to Connecticut. It runs on water power, not willpower. Learn more at softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by UCCU. You deserve to love where you bank. And back over to you, Cormac.
No delays on I-15 all across the Wasatch Front. Really, all your freeways running at good speeds. We do have some light and scattered delays on the 201 freeway in Magna, mostly eastbound at 8400 West right now. And construction in Lehigh still giving drivers grief, especially on Pioneer Crossing, approaching Saratoga Road both directions. Common Spirit hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advanced healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness. Cormac Bone in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 67 with lots of sunshine, 74 tomorrow, 77 Sunday, then a chance for rain returns on Monday. Right now it's 59 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I am joined this morning by Jim Bennett, who's filled in admirably for Holly Richardson, who we miss, but she's been down at UVU the last couple of days with the graduation and whatnot. It is Law Day, and I want to follow up with Law Day. And one of the things that we are hearing a lot about, and of course we heard a lot about this last Saturday at the Republican State Convention, where some comments were made about the judiciary, and we made to vote some people out. And we do have something in Utah that's a little bit unusual. Maybe, I don't know what other states do. We think about judges as being appointed for life, and generally that's true. But in Utah and in some states, we do have what's called a retention election, Jim, which is this, that every so many years, and I think for the Supreme Court it's every 10 years, but it's also your first cycle after you've been a justice for some period of time. I don't want to get in the weeds too much. But anyway, we have what's called a retention election. It's basically, should Judge so-and-so be retained, yes or no? And it's really important to know a little bit about the judges. We do have this Judicial Performance Evaluation Committee, JPEC we call it, that does evaluations. And people who are in these courts, like jurors, witnesses, criminal defendants, prosecutors, defense attorneys, whatever, will be allowed and asked to evaluate judges. What do you think? What do you know about this judge? And based on all that, there's an evaluation that's sent out to the public so that they'll have an idea when they look at these judges how to vote and what to do.
Well, deep in my darkest Republican hours, every time I would look at those retention vote things, I hadn't done any research. I had no idea who any of these judges were. And I thought I was doing some kind of bold protest by voting no on every single one just to say, aha. And I look back and I go, what was I protesting and what was that accomplishing?
Right. Yeah. What were you trying to do? I just because I see these judges, I know how hard they work. I can hardly vote.
I don't do that anymore.
Right, yeah.
I just want you to know that.
Well, we do have the president-elect of the Utah State Bar joining us this morning, Tyler Young. Tyler, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. My pleasure. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Greg. Good to be back.
Absolutely. So talk to us about this year, maybe more so than at least I can remember in my short 44 years as an attorney, that we're talking about judicial retention more than in the past. What's going on, and what should the public know about a judicial retention?
Yeah, I think you kind of touched on the highlights there. JPEC is an organization that's out there to provide information to voters on judges. It's a really thorough analysis that JPEC does. JPEC takes surveys from lawyers. They take surveys from actually courtroom staff and from jurors. And then they compile that information in a confidential manner. And I won't dive into the weeds of how they do that, but they actually try to redact information about that might indicate who was actually filling out the survey. But then they provide this to judges really at 2 points. The first point is kind of halfway through the judge's term, is my understanding, as like a constructive thing for the judges to be able to look at where they're doing well and where they can improve. And then this information is also given to judges and the public when a judge is up for retention election. And as Jim mentioned, look, there's a lot of information there that helps voters make decisions about whether or not they want to vote to retain a judge. And obviously voters can rely on whatever information they want, but the bar thinks it's a great place to start for a whole lot of information about judges. And the last point on that, JPEC looks at, a judge's legal abilities. It looks at their demeanor in the courtroom, how well they treat both sides, a whole bunch of different factors, and then they give that information to judges and the public, and they can make their decision about whether to retain judges based on that. So I can go on, but does that kind of hit it?
Absolutely.
Well, that's very
All right.
helpful, and I really wish I had known there was a resource like that when I was doing my protest no vote on everything. Because, you're just so... You feel kind of, as a layman, you feel very overwhelmed when you see this list of judges and you don't know anything about them and you don't really understand what the process is. I mean, how does a layperson sort of dip their toe into this and sort of look at the retention vote responsibly and in an informed way?
Yeah, good question. So JPEC has a website. I don't have the domain off the top of my head, but if they just look up JPEC or Judicial Performance Evaluation, and Greg, you said committee commission. I'm embarrassed to say
right?
I need to know. Yeah, sorry. But if they Google that, they'll be able to look up every judge that's up for retention election, and they can find that information there on the judge. And that's, if they're just dipping their toe into it, that's certainly a good place to start, and where the bar would recommend folks start. I'd also point out that commission It's the commission that makes the recommendation whether or not to retain a judge, because they actually make recommendations to the public on whether or not judges should be retained or not. That commission is a commission appointed from all three branches of our government. So the governor's office, so the executive branch, some members of the judiciary, as well as members of the legislature. So it's supposed to be non-biased and just to provide great information to the public. So if you're dipping your toe, that's a real good place to start.
All right. That was Utah State Bar President-elect Tyler Young. Thanks for joining us this morning, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I want to say this about the performance evaluation, that one of the things that's really not on the agenda, and it is JPEC commission, it is the commission, Tyler's exactly right, of course, is you don't agree with a judge's ruling. I mean, that's not...
that's not justification to get rid of them.
Well, no, I mean, that's what bothers me about what's happening right now. I mean, I said this before. I lost a case at the Supreme Court this last year that I thought was wrong, and I disagreed with their decision. But they're the justices. They're there for a reason, and they're the high court in the land. And if they say, Skordash, you're wrong, then I'm wrong. I move forward. I go to the next step, and we do things different next time. And I appreciate what they said, and I read these opinions, and while I may not agree with them, they're the judge. You know, it's like when you're in baseball, you don't agree with the balls and strikes, but it's the umpire. You know what I mean? Right. So I just think we have such great judges right now. We have such incredible judges. The best judges in the country are in Utah right this minute, and so it really bothers me what's happening, that judges are being attacked personally based on their rulings. Boy, I hope that we maintain our current Supreme Court justices, because they are the best in the country. Well, I'll get off of that. And when we come back, we're nearing the end of our show, which means, we get to the movie show. We have Andy Farnsworth and Val Cameron talking to us about the movie of the week. We'll join them in just a minute.
There's nothing better than getting outside with the people you love. And in Utah, we have endless ways to stay active and healthy outdoors. But staying healthy also means staying safe. Intermountain Health recommends that you wear the right gear, stay hydrated, protect your skin, and plan ahead before you go. Know your limits and choose activities that keep it safe and fun for everyone. Because when you make health and safety a part of every adventure, you're taking care of what matters most: your life, your health.
The Movie Show, broadcasting live from NPS. We call it the nicest place to save, and it's even nicer savings today than usual here at the Layton store at 1150 North Main Street, right off the freeway at the Hillfield Road exit, and then you just go west and take a right onto Main. You'll go right past. In fact, if you stay in that right lane, you will eventually have no choice but to turn into the NPS parking lot.
Correct.
So come and see us. Come say hi and come and save on a whole bunch of things, including 60% off extra on electronics here. Actually, that's good at all stores.
All stores.
That one's good at all stores. This is the day to come and get an extra monitor for your laptop, or a television, or you guys have a bunch of things. Like I got the coolest box one day, Val. It was like a boom box, but it had video on it, and it had like an HDMI input. It was like the evolution of boom boxes from back in the day. It does it all now. You can take it on a trip. You can take it. It's just like the coolest little portable
thing. Can I carry
thing.
it on my shoulder?
You could, and you could plug it hard. These are things that I didn't know existed until I found them at NPS, and then I bought them because not only were they so cool, they were at such amazing prices.
Correct.
What are some of the things you guys do to get the prices this low for people who are new to this? Like, how do you get them so low? Because these are brand new items. These are not donated items. These are not returns. These are brand new items with their tags on them.
We just take the original retail price and we go 30 to 70% off of it, and that's how we get our deals.
So you do your research. I know Julie has said if you find a deal on that at a legit website,
yes,
that's cheaper, you guys will match it and then give an extra 5%.
Yes.
So you will beat any price.
We'll beat any
if
price.
somehow you find it cheaper.
Yes.
On any of your retail items. But grocery store stuff, this is where right now the dollar needs to go farther, is on your food bill.
Right.
And NPS can make that happen.
Correct.
What are some cool deals today?
Well, we always have our soda, you know.
25 cents a can.
And they just came
cannot
in.
beat that.
We just got to load in.
All right. So, excuse me. I got to.
You're out.
I'm like the Target lady in the SNL sketch. Just put it, go walk off. Oh, but 30 to 70% off retail items. Grocery, it's not 30 to 70% off, but it does beat the grocery store on all the item prices, and some have some incredible deals. We'll tell you about those at NPS as we broadcast live today. They've got 4 locations in Salt Lake at 1600 South Empire Road, in Orem at 475 North State, and in Layton, here where we are, at 1150 North Main.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing, starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-583-6681. That's 800-583-6681.
And expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Well, it's that fun part of the week and that fun part of the show, Jim, when we get to go to the KSL Movie Show and talk to our movie show hosts, Andy Farnsworth and Val Cameron, who are currently today, I think, at the NPS store in Layton. Is that right, Andy?
What's that?
Where are you?
Yeah, we are at NPS in Layton. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I get so distracted by everything all
That's
the time
all right.
that
Val's distracting.
I got to get out of vacation brain and back into on-air brain. As you could tell, even by hesitating there, obviously I'm still at maybe 60 to 70%. But I believe by 11 o'clock I will be back to 100.
Hey, I want to know, thanks to you guys, I'm now seeing movies, and I saw this Project Hail Mary
You're welcome.
this last weekend.
Oh, that's such a great movie.
Which is just an incredible movie. Anyway, I digress, but you guys
see
have
what
gotten
you've
me
been
going
missing
to the
out on
I know,
all these
I know.
years, Greg?
So what's the next movie I'm going to go see? What's the big movie this week?
Well, I don't know about you, but your wife might be super excited to go see the big movie, The Devil Wears Prada 2. Have you seen the first?
No, so that's
It's
one
20
for the
years
wife.
old, so there's a
Okay.
chance.
I have seen the first.
Okay, so you've seen the first, and in The Devil Wears Prada 2, the biggest question I thought going in, Val, and you were a bigger fan, I didn't see The Devil Wears Prada 1 until I believe it was Saturday of last week.
Yes.
And I finally saw it.
We didn't think you were going to do it, but you did.
But I did do it. And I will say this, that actually kind of helped me because then it had everything fresh. So in all the kind of point backs to 1 that they put in 2, I was like, oh, I get that. Oh, he called her 6. I know what that means. And that kind of helped me see where the similarities were. But it also prevented me from having a 20-year buildup of excitement and hope and expectations, which I actually think benefited me when I went and saw it last night at 10 o'clock.
I think you're right. I think it did.
And that, I think, helped me because I have found myself enjoying it. And I have seen some reactions where they're kind of disappointed that they feel like they got the same movie again. And I think they got similarities, but as we'll talk about in the movie show, I think that there's reasons for that. I mean, if you're going to bring these characters back and you got to start with where you left them.
I have to say,
I mean, that's
Andy,
going to limit a little bit.
I was about to call you out because I thought there is no way that first one was 20 years ago. It seems like it was like 5 years ago, but I just looked it up. 2006, exactly 20 years. So tell us, Val, if you liked the first one, will you love the second one?
I definitely loved the first one, and I've seen it, more than a dozen times over the last 20 years. I think if you're a super fan, you're going to go in and you're going to like whatever it is you see because there are some fun moments. There are a lot of really fun Easter eggs in this movie from the original. For me, it is one of those periods in time 20 years ago that you just can't capture that moment again. So it doesn't have that same spark and that same kind of new feature. They're trying to hit a new period in time that I don't know that they hit it on the nose. You know, they're trying to get across that, you know, you're going from something that's tangible in these clothes and being in fashion to maybe something that hits AI, which is what we're all dealing with right now. But I don't know that that's as magical as having, you know, Miranda being the Miranda Priestley that she was, sharp-tongued and on it. She kind of had to hold back in this movie because of the new world that she's in, and so it wasn't as fun as it used to be. But
she has an HR rep sitting with her at meetings because there's things she's allowed to say and things she's not allowed to say, which I actually thought was one of the funnier little sort of running gags in the movie.
It is funny, but we've all been waiting for her for 20 years to just have that hardcore Miranda Priestley like jabs, and I didn't get enough. I needed a little more of her. It was funny. You do get the magical of Stanley Tucci in there, which is going to save any movie for me anytime. But for me, it wasn't as magical as the first, but it was definitely fun.
Except Lovely Bones.
So it's a sequel, not a.
Sorry,
not
that
a
was
remake.
a creepy movie with Stanley Tucci. It is the sequel, yes, not a remake. It does bring back the same characters, almost all the characters. I mean, Andy's boyfriend, Anne Hathaway's character's boyfriend from the first one's not back. Instead, she's got an Australian boyfriend now.
Yeah, so there are some new characters, and I do think the new characters add something to it. The soundtrack is amazing, just like the first one, but they add in some more kind of pop music into this one.
Cameos.
You have cameos.
This
you
is
have
like
all
Happy
the
Gilmore
amazing,
for the ladies set.
Yeah, you have all the amazing clothes. You have the amazing boots. You have clothes and purses that I will never, ever be able to buy in my life, so I'm living vicariously through Andy in both movies. So again, there's some of that magic from the first, but for me, it just doesn't hit as hard because it's a whole different time. 20 years is a big gap between what you can say and do back then to what you can say and do now. So enjoyable, but not as magical.
But I will say, they finally do justice by one character in the movie that I thought, having watched the two of them close together for the first time, I feel like that's a long 20-year wait for one of the characters to finally get justice for kind of how things ended in the first movie. I don't want to give any more away for people who haven't seen it, but it's very vague and cryptic to you who haven't watched the movie. I realize that. That one was code for some of the people that's where I thought the movie justified itself, was as much for that as anything else. And the rest was kind of like what we wanted. We wanted to have these people back together, so we needed two reasons. We needed a reason to get them all back together, and then we needed some way to wrap all of that up. And I feel like there's even a door open for maybe a third one. But,
they never closed the door, which is nice.
Yeah, but I don't know. I
don't think they need a third.
I'm a fresh face on this, though, so I'm going to have a different perspective.
Okay, so what's?
But that's what The Devil Wears Prada 2 is, and we've got other good stuff. There's an animated movie that I just came out of nowhere, and I'm not talking about in theaters. I'm talking about on Netflix. That I was like, dang, this is good. So I'll be looking forward to telling people about that.
Go ahead. What's our question of the week?
Well, this is one I actually think you might be able to answer, Greg, because she has made so many movies. What is your favorite Meryl Streep movie?
Okay, so
obviously it's not Devil Wears Prada for you because you haven't seen it.
Okay, we're going to start with Jim's, okay? And
okay, go ahead, Jim.
Soundbite from this one. You ready?
So my answer to this, it's not really my favorite Meryl Streep movie because this is actually, I think, the worst movie Meryl Streep has ever been in. But it is absolutely my favorite Meryl Streep performance because she elevates this movie in a way, and she plays so far against type. The movie is She-Devil from 1989.
With Roseanne Barr.
With Roseanne Barr.
Take off my dress. You're not my mother. I said move!
I mean, there you've got Meryl Streep is the comic relief in the movie. She plays this sort of bubble-headed blonde romance novelist that is cheating on Roseanne Barr's husband. And so Roseanne Barr spends the entire movie making her life miserable and torturing all of them. And Roseanne Barr is absolutely awful. But Meryl Streep actually was nominated for a Golden Globe for this performance in this dreadful movie. And it showed just how strong her comedic chops were It showed how much fun she can have, even in a bad movie. And it just sort of opened up a whole new world in terms of my understanding of her because, she has this reputation of doing all these very ponderous, serious movies. And really, as much as I don't like She-Devil as a movie, I'd probably rather rewatch it multiple times than sit through Out of Africa once again.
I'm looking at through her filmography, and she had all these critically Kramer versus Kramer, Sophie's Choice, Out of Africa, Heartburn, and then she does She-Devil.
Yep.
So you just mentioned
that was a departure.
My favorite Meryl Streep movie, and I had to go look at movies that she's done, and I'm not going to play any sound from this because everything we found was so mindlessly depressing. But Sophie's Choice, I thought, was an incredible movie. I didn't even realize she was in it. I had no idea she was Sophie, and it was a very, very good movie. One of those movies you only watch once in your lifetime. But yeah. I thought that it was an incredible, very, very, very good movie. Anyway, that was mine.
All right, Val.
Nice. I mean, everybody knows that's a very well-known movie for her. Mine is Julie and Julia. It's Meryl Streep, Amy Adams, and Stanley Tucci, and it's so lovely. There's so much good food in that movie, and you have Stanley Tucci and her back on screen together, which they are my favorite pairing in movies. They're in like my top 5. But anytime you have them plus food, like I'm in the whole way.
So you got them plus fashion, them plus food.
Yeah.
Equals a hit for Val.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
Andy.
Yes.
And mine kind of goes along with yours, Jim, as far as comedic. She was in a movie called Defending Your Life, which I swear no one has seen.
I've seen it. I adore that movie.
That movie is so funny, so charming. And that's my favorite movie that she's in.
Her role in that, though, is rather slight, I thought. I mean, it's all about...
Yes, she's
the perfect, idyllic woman that Albert Brooks falls in love with.
Yes. Her life is like a Hallmark card. This is, I think, one of the lines in the movie.
Jim needs to get on your show more often. Hey, we're over time, and we're looking forward to your show. We're going to turn it over to the movie show with Andy Farnsworth and Val Cameron and talk about The Devil Wears Prada 2. Stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
KSL News Radio, I'm Britt Johnson. KSL's top story this hour. The U.S. Department of Agriculture can now give emergency loans to farmers in Utah to deal with drought in 13 counties across the state.